Good afternoon, everybody. Thank you so much for coming. We're going to get started in a minute. Congressman Mask has just arrived. Thank you. Good afternoon. Can everybody hear me? Because I feel like the mic's not working. You got me? Okay, good. Congressman Mask has just arrived, so we're going to get started in just a couple of minutes. So I just want to say thank you, everybody, for coming. Before we do get started, we appreciate the opportunity to have all the resources here for you to ask any questions. Our community's been through a lot, so it's really nice to see us coming together in times like this. So we're very grateful that you're all here. To all of our elected officials and county staff and SWA, thank you so much for being here and thinking about our community. And there's the congressman now. So even though this isn't a normal meeting, I think it would be appropriate if we started the meeting with the pledge. What do you guys think? Okay, so please join us, stand if you can, and we'll start there. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Before we do get started, I want to take a minute to thank our staff. They were out before, during, and after the storm, doing everything they could to make sure our community was as safe as possible. And if you guys, I see most of you already standing, but if you just look at the back room, these are the guys. These are our guys. Give them, thank you. Well deserved. I'm not going to name you all and embarrass you, but well deserved to each and every one of you. And before we get started with the congressman, I'd just like to introduce some of our elected officials here. Of course, we have Congressman Mast. There he is, right there. Thank you, sir. Our commissioner, Commissioner Baxter. Commissioner Marino, Vice Mayor Marino, excuse me. Loxahatchee Grove's Mayor, Anita Kane. Also from Lox Groves, Richard Gallant. He runs their sort of, he's their guy. I don't see any more electeds, but we have representatives from SWA. We'll be here to answer your questions. We've got some county staff. We've got the Deputy Director, Mr. Rudder. Hi, Pat. And of course, Mr. Von Laren, and Mary from Emergency Management, who's been excellent communicating with Mr. Hanson, our Executive Director, on what our community's needs are. Because as you know, Indian Trail is limited to what our jurisdictions are and what we can do, and we really rely on the county for a lot of these things to make these things happen. So I'm really grateful everybody was able to come out today. Hopefully they can answer all your questions. So, Selena from Royal Palm Beach, Councilwoman. Sorry about that. Thank you. Did I miss anybody else? Well, of course, everybody knows our board. Vice President Farrell, Secretary Argue, Treasurer Mr. Giordano, Michael's. No, Michael. Okay, Michael's not here. Okay. With that, let's get it rolling because I know everybody has other things to do and get back on cleaning up. So without further ado, I'd like to introduce you to Congressman Mast. So if you want to take the podium, and he's going to just give us some information and be happy to answer any questions you might have.
Prior to a few days ago, I was by no means an expert on tornadoes, but unfortunately, for all of us, we all have experience with that now. I have experience with that from your community here, clear to Vero Beach. Numerous touchdown of tornadoes in individual communities in Palm Beach County, Martin County, and St. Lucie County, all of which I represent. And so chances are fairly decent that some of the questions that you might have for me, I've probably fielded already, or we've sought out the answer from various agencies that you're looking for information from. I'm going to start by introducing my staff just so you see who they are. Get their card, keep their card, get their phone number. You might not need us today, but you might need us a week or two from now when you're trying to deal with something with FEMA or something else. You got Ross, number 1 right here. He's with my staff. You got Christian and Harris right back here. They're both with my staff. In total, we probably have got about 15 staff members running around the 3 districts and various communities trying to assist and answer questions as people need assistance from our end of it. I want to cover a couple of things that have kind of been the hot topic of conversation for my end of it. And that would be just number 1, FEMA, and number 2, a little bit on advice about tornadoes that I've received from some of my colleagues in states that get a lot of tornadoes, who have an extensive year-over-year experience with tornadoes. So to begin with FEMA, I believe FEMA will be coming. Are they supposed to be coming? And FEMA is not here yet. Is that my understanding? FEMA is not here yet, but I'm told they would be coming. So to speak a little bit about them, maybe this will prompt a few questions for when they do arrive, if they do choose to show up. The approval for FEMA went through sometime yesterday around noon, roughly noon. So prior to that approval going through, they weren't putting anybody's information really into a computer, anything as common sense as it might be to do that in advance. They weren't doing that. They didn't have teams on the ground yet, largely. They don't have people that they're going to send to your door to go out there and help you clean mud out of your house, or get a squeegee and clean water out of somewhere, or pick up a chainsaw and help you cut branches. They don't have people that are going to help you do that. They will, at some point, move door to door to assess information and look at what's going on and speak to individuals at the home fronts of people that are seeking FEMA assistance. But I think it's important to temper the expectation of what FEMA is likely to do for you. And probably the most important place to temper that expectation is in terms of dollars and cents. FEMA does not come in to rebuild a home. They don't do it. FEMA is capped out at roughly $43,000 in individual assistance. If anybody's looking for assistance from FEMA, it's probably going to fall under that term IA, which stands for individual assistance. And when you're looking at that, as much as I can tell you that it caps out at $43,000, speaking to the FEMA administrator, was it 2 days ago? 2 days ago, riding around with her from county to county to county. She didn't spend a lot of time on the ground. She was here for a while, but then she was going to other coasts and other places. I did get to ask a lot of questions of her. She was very specific. As catastrophic as your destruction might be, it is far more likely that you would see $4,300 from FEMA than $43,000 from FEMA. I think it's important for you to understand that. Don't come into applying to FEMA and thinking that they're going to look at your home and see trusses that are twisted up and a roof that's destroyed, and they're going to say, okay, what's the bill on that from the roofer? And they're not going to cut a check for that. There are other places that they can assist you, which I think are very useful places, and one of the most useful places is with housing. Housing can look a number of different ways, and I do hope that they show up here because they're going to be able to speak to it, hopefully in a better way than what I can speak to it. But some of the myriad of options for housing are them. It's not a set menu. It's an a la carte menu that the governor has to request, and then once the governor requests it, then they choose to approve it, and they did approve these things. But some of those things on that a la carte menu are, they can assist you with hotels, right? So if you want to get into a hotel because your home is uninhabitable, it's not safe for a number of reasons, they can help you get into a hotel. They will have deals with hotel chains or with the local hotels, whatever it might be. They will help you to set that up because they've set something up with the hotels, and they would cover that. They can specifically put you into rental housing. That could literally be an Airbnb that they might find on the market somewhere, and they move you into a rental facility like that. It could literally be that they say, okay, you're requesting trailer assistance. Probably not like what a lot of people think of, the big double wide FEMA trailers. I'm not saying it can't be exactly that. My understanding is they don't do as much of that anymore. It's more like a fifth wheel or a camper at this point, but they can move those things onto your property or onto some property. And with those things, there is actually an opportunity to buy those at the end of whatever that time frame might be. Once you get into one of those housing options, it's not set that you're in that just for the next 2 years or something like that. You could be in it hypothetically for 2 years if that's what your need was, but there would be periodic times throughout that time that you would have to reapply. I'm going to say roughly every 180 days that you might have to request that assistance or request that assistance go out there and continue. Any assistance from FEMA comes to you as an individual check. It doesn't go to, if you're saying, hey, I just need help with a roof or something like that, or a hotel, or you name it. It comes to you as a check. My encouragement to everybody is this, because these are things that have played out in the past. Don't do anything dishonest. Don't do anything that's not above board. This is a scary thing to say, but it is the truth. The federal government has an almost unlimited amount of scary power. That frightens me as well. They might not find you next year, but they might find you in 10 years and then charge you 10 years of interest if you do something that is fraudulent. Don't do something fraudulent. That's a huge encouragement, because people have done it, right? You got to say it because people have done it. That being said, is there anything else that I've covered on FEMA that I normally speak about? One of the other things, similar to FEMA, Small Business Administration. Agency, SBA, Small Business Administration, can certainly help your business, but in times of disaster like this, they also help individuals. You don't have to be a business to get Small Business Administration assistance in times of disaster like this. Small Business Administration gives out probably the best loans that you could basically get anywhere, 1 to 2% loans. I want to say they cap out at around $250,000, maybe exactly $250,000 they cap out at. So if there's a larger assistance that you need because you say, hey, listen, this totally destroyed this part of my home, I'm uninsured or I'm underinsured or whatever your situation is, that might be a really good option for you to be looking at, because you're not going to get a lower rate loan in all likelihood unless you made a deal with the devil or something like that. But it's a really good low rate loan. So that's a good one to make sure you look at as well. My staff can help walk you through some of those things. I want to move to the advice that I got about tornadoes. And I think it's one of the more important things that I could say. I've said it to a number of groups. From my friends, my colleagues, both in the Senate and the House of Representatives, in Texas, in Oklahoma, and Kansas. I called them immediately saying, I got a lot of experience with hurricanes. I don't have much with tornadoes. What can you tell me? And across the board, from individual conversations that were not coordinated, the same thing was said to me from people that deal with tornadoes quite a bit. And this relates to your individual insurance. And what they said was, listen, if you're touched by a tornado, one of these tornadoes that took the trees and bent those things over 90 degrees, that in various communities took dumpsters and put them on top of homes, put cars and put them on top of homes, put homes and put them on top of other homes, took homes and moved them blocks away or hung them up into trees or never to be found again, right? You all understand better than anybody at this point the sheer power of these tornadoes. If you think that tornado just tore off some of your roof tiles, don't make that the assumption. Make the assumption that that is a total loss if you are covered by insurance. If you think that it just tore off this back area of your house, and thank God your house doesn't look like your neighbor's and it looks like everything else is fine, don't make that your assumption, because you saw the power of that storm. You make your insurance company prove to you that your trusses are not twisted up, that your frame of your home is not twisted in a way that you can't see, where your windows aren't opening the way that they used to open, where your doors aren't opening the way that they used to open, because your frame is askew in a way that it wasn't before, that it wasn't pushed off of the slab or the foundation of your home in a way that it wouldn't have been delivered to you with a certificate of occupancy in a circumstance that you were getting the home new. Make your insurance company prove those things to you. Don't just say, okay, hey, the insurance company settlers came by. They saw that I was missing some roof tiles. They offered me a settlement to redo the whole roof instead of just those tiles. Thank God, I'm really glad about that. But you don't make them show you that it didn't also mess up the trusses in there. And the illustration that was given to me by several of these friends of mine was to say, listen, you got to think about it like the frame of your car, right? You get into a car accident, you bring it to the body shop. You don't just make sure that they fix the paint and fix the headlights that might have get damaged. It might have twisted up the frame underneath. And even though they can fix the paint and the headlights and you don't think it's a total loss, it really would be a total loss because the way that it twisted up the frame of your car. It can be the same thing with your home. I thought that was one of the most valuable advices that was given to me by those that deal with tornadoes on a year over year over year basis, where they see people have big time regrets because they didn't make their insurance companies prove those things to them. Anything else I normally cover? I think that's about the extent of which. I don't know the order of everything that they have planned here, but I will certainly, for my part, answer any and all questions that you have for me on any front. There's no holds barred. And thank you, everybody, for wanting to get together. Am I doing questions right now, or are we?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes, thank you.
And I'll stay right here. I'm happy to answer your questions.
Thank you very much.
Yes,
If
ma'am.
you- Yes,
No.
please stand. And
Maybe I'll let you call on folks as you see them.
Sure, okay. Go ahead, ma'am. You want to go ahead and stand up?
I'm just curious, how do you make your insurance company prove that your house is not someone's just in the lot?
I would say a couple of different ways. Start by, saying it to them. Hey, you're the insurance adjuster, you're the insurance whatever. And again, I'm telling you something I don't have a great deal of experience with. I haven't had to deal with an insurance adjuster and a tornado claim. I just haven't. I can't give you a personal illustration to it. But what I will tell you is, tell them that. Congressman gave me that advice because he got that advice from people in Oklahoma and Texas and Kansas and other places that he called. So I noticed that you looked at the outside of my home. I told you that I didn't have any water damage inside or anything, but I didn't actually see you come up and ask to have access to my attic. Or I didn't see you take out your tape measure and start looking at whether I was off my slab, or I don't know, however they determine that. Use common sense to look and see and observe what they're doing. Don't just take it for granted that they're doing something that they're not. And if they give you trouble about that, let me know. Let my office know. Let some of your state representatives or county officials know, and let other people know via social media or you name it, that this insurance company isn't wanting to fully check things out. And that was your experience with it. If they are, be honest about that as well. Hey, they came in. They did a good job. They were very thorough. They asked to see these things, and I was pleased and felt like they were doing an honest job. Make it known either way, but if it's not above board, don't allow it to be above board, and I'm happy to get involved personally. I can be a pretty good asshole if I need to be. And so I'm happy to do it if that's what it takes. The other, it all matters in a lot of part who you know. I would not hesitate to call our top insurance person in the state if that's something that we found happening as these insurance people start to get out. Jimmy Petronis, the state CFO, the top person for insurance. I would call him immediately. Hey, my constituents are telling me this is what's happening. I need you to get on the car and get down here and get on the road and come talk to these people before, things turn a different way. And, those would be various ways that I would advise elevating it, but you got.
It strikes a note only because the day of the tornado, my front door didn't want to lock, and I've seen some cracks in the houses I didn't see before, and so what you said completely struck a note. Is my house twisted because I did lose part of the roof, not the whole roof, but enough that pressure got in. It blew a door out of the frame.
And
so
you
I
think
have to
about
wonder
that, right?
what else it did.
You don't know,
To my
but
frame home.
we don't know what we don't know.
No.
So make them, it was a big advice that I thought was valuable.
No,
Make
it's
them prove that. Even if you think, okay, looks like the path of this tornado was, it unfortunately destroyed Bob next door. And then it jumped like these things do and totally skipped my house. And then you can see where it started to come down Terry's house and took off some shingles. And then it destroyed Tony's house next door. That thing went directly over top you. Don't assume that it didn't do whatever it could have done to you. Make them prove it to you. And one of the other things I didn't mention in that, right, could be meaning that you need to get an independent assessment of something like that, right? But don't take that first settlement if you think it was not a thorough settlement that fully met every expectation of evaluation that you would have. So, what else can I answer for you?
Yeah, hi, my name's Eric Baxter.
Okay.
I have a fruit trees. I have probably about 100 or so fruit trees on the property, which most of them are down or twisted or snapped off, as well my roof and whatnot. Now, as far as insurance and the trees and stuff, is that through a different process to get the trees covered?
That
'Cause they
would be
were an
under an
income.
agricultural operation for you?
Yeah, they were an income, yes.
A named business?
More or less, yeah. It's not, I have a bee business as well, so it's kind of all kind of under the same, the same thing. And then the other question is about public adjusters. Because it was a disaster, they're capped at a certain percentage, or how does that all work as far as their process or their side of the thing?
Explain the public adjusters part of it. What's the question?
Like public adjusters, because I don't want to deal with the insurance guys because I'm not at that level and they're just going to walk all over you. So if you get a public adjuster, they stand up for you. They're looking for you, not for the insurance. But they have like a certain cap or percentage that they charge from whatever their claim ends up being. They get, say you get back 150,000, they get 15,000 out of the deal if it's 10%. So is there a certain level of percentage, or do they vary from adjuster to adjuster, or?
Anybody behind me have a better answer for that than what I can offer? By all means.
Yes. First of all, you really want to deal with the insurance company first. Their adjusters are supposed to work for you. They are free. They're not going to charge you. Public adjusters that are there to make money, sometimes are not really your friend. So first, deal with the insurance company, and if you feel like you're not getting anywhere, then research and get an adjuster to work with you and have the two of them work together, but don't just run off and sign off for a public adjuster, and don't sign anything saying you're assigning your benefits to these adjusters and these contractors. Be very careful, but go through the insurance company first. I got on the phone with someone yesterday and already got a company signed up to go tarp a roof and send an adjuster out. So try the insurance company first. They'll work with you.
Yeah, the insurance company sent out somebody next week, but it's just,
Try them first before you jump in, because you're gonna have to pay the private adjusters.
right.
So what you're gonna gain by going to a private adjuster, you're gonna wind up paying a private adjuster.
And you know, I was thinking too, it might be worth it just to have a private inspection done. One-shot deal, not somebody that's going to, you know, try to fix your house, but just an independent inspector. You know, things are missed, and oftentimes what happens with insurance companies, especially with cars, oh, well, I see this scratch and that scratch, and if there's anything else, just come back to us later. But later, like the congressman said, they might find out, oh, your frame is twisted. Well, guess what? You already signed, so now we have to go through all of this because your car is actually a total loss. And even more so, a bigger investment is your home. So it might be worth it, even if you gotta spend a little bit of money, just to have that private inspection done. Not necessarily a public adjuster, but just a good, quality, reputable inspection company, like you would use if you were purchasing your home. And they're gonna look up in the attic, and they're gonna look everywhere that the congressman mentioned. They're gonna see all these things that us laymen would never see. So that's just another option there. It might be worth just spending those couple of dollars to get that done.
And I will make sure, please give Ross your information. We'll call the CFO's office, Jimmy Petronas' office, and ask him about more of a home agricultural operation and what you need to look out for insurance on that front.
I got a
So,
friend of mine that's part of the Farm Bureau.
yep,
And
that's a great resource too.
It's said to start their programs. So what they are, I don't know.
Yes, sir.
I see we have a question back there.
I have a horse facility that got damaged pretty bad, Blue Ridge, and I still have a lot of horses there and all my fencing's gone. What do I do with all the fencing? Like, do I clean it? Can I put it in? Like, my well is completely shot. The tornado hit my house, spared my parents and I, but my well's gone. I didn't know that it could crack underneath the ground. And then that goes under my foundation in my driveway. I just found out today. And then I had neighbors that were helping me take all my debris away. But then I found out that if they take my debris away, then the claimers, they may not know what the damage was. So I don't really know what to do with all the fencing and the horses, because right now we have 20 horses there and they can't get out. Thank goodness they were saved. The tornado went 10 feet from the barns, all the way 100 feet down, and then it decided to go up my road and destroy all those fencing, and then it turned out to my house, and it right where my parents and I were, and it clipped my house and destroyed the tree that was 20 feet away from the house, and then it completely destroyed all the event space and everything I built for the last 5 years out there. So I have all this metal debris and all these, I have so huge piles of metal, and and there's mirror, like I had a big dressage mirror, like 66 foot of mirror, and all the mirror is in shards, like all across the fields. Like, so I can't even have horses out there. I can't, like, there's screws everywhere. There's this, I don't know what to do. It's like land. It's like, what do I do? Do I scrape up all the land? Like, then what do I do with it? You know, and I'm just, I do a lot of big charity things there. I host charities at my place, and I try to raise money for them, and I try to give back to the community with just like farmers markets, or we were doing a fall festival for furry friends, and so we had all these pumpkins there, and to give back to them, and obviously, like, we can't do it. We did it last weekend, Friday and Saturday. Sunday it got rained out, so we had to cancel. We were gonna redo it for this Sunday, and then we got destroyed by a tornado, and then the same tornado hit them. We had all the dog food and cat food, and I had these like tiny homes that we were putting everything in, and they flew away. And there's like all this dog food and cat food everywhere, and all the pumpkins are still there. So like right now, actually, there's people coming to the farm and dropping off dog food and cat food and taking a pumpkin. So I was late, and my phone died on the way here, and I just don't know what to do with the property. I don't know what to do with these horses that are there, and I don't want them to run out inside the road, and I don't know what to
How many
do.
horses do you have?
What?
How many horses do you have?
There's about 27 and a potbelly pig, and right now we had to move 10 of the horses to another facility. I'm good friends with the Channing brothers family, and they hosted us. Byron Russell, he hosted us at his farm, and I'm like, there's amazing family. So my horses are now down the road. My grooms that work for me, they're in 2 different directions. They're working nonstop. It's a lot, and I don't.
So I would give you a couple of things. One, we'll take that down. We'll take your information, and we'll reach out to our personal networks of people like Meg Weinberger sitting next to you that does a lot of animal rescue, and she has a large network of people that do animal rescue, and whatever we can find in those networks to help assist you with that, we're happy to, like anything that you try to help, one at a time, one at a time, one at a time. I would encourage you to pull out any old photos that you have, because for all of you, photograph everything. You move a toothpick on your property, take a photograph of it. You just never know what proof that it's going to come down to needing. Hopefully it doesn't come down to that, but we're all smarter individuals too that know that sometimes it does come down to that. So take a photograph of everything, find your old photographs of everything. Make sure you get information specifically on small business administration loans. It sounds like something that might be important for what your lane is. And then I know there's some outstanding groups that, the old saying, 2 heads are better than 1 and 5 heads are better than 3. Many hands make light work. There's a lot of groups going on around our communities right now trying to make many hands to do the work. And we're happy to pass that on to groups like Christ Fellowship and things like that that have armies of people that are out there just trying to assist and say, hey, listen, we came across somebody that really needs an army of people to go hands across the property and just pick up hazards for the animals and things like that so animals can start grazing again, and you name it. We can try to make those requests and see what we can come up with. So it's
Brian,
community,
may I-
right? Community comes together for these things, so.
Can I add something to that?
Yes,
Brian?
of course.
Very
This is your
important-
floor.
Very important. It's all our floors. And just, first off, you're all still here, so that's a bonus in its own right. But secondly, documentation is really important. If you have somebody removing anything, make sure you document it. I'm sorry you didn't, I hope you did that as they were taking it away, because that can prove what was being taken away. But documentation is the most important thing before, during, and after. This way, your insurance company knows, and whoever comes to your house will know what exactly was there. You have all the documentation from events that you've had there, so they know it was there to begin with. But just to confirm what Brian said, documentation is one of the most important things you can do at this point.
Congressman Mass, she's correct about that. Again, if you got a hazard on your property, the insurance companies might take a while to get there. Photos, millions of photos. Take the photos. That is the strongest thing you got when the adjusters come and the insurance companies come to prove, yes, this shed was there. Yes, this fence was there. Yes, this tree was there. take photos. Very important.
And Google has that, you know, you can go back in Google and do different years and show what was there too.
If you got a friend with a drone, get drone footage. Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, I was gonna say. Hi, my name's Daniela. I also have an animal facility. I'm right up the road. I do reptiles and stuff. Luckily, a lot of our animals were inside, but we did lose some sheds. All of our trees are down. I'm 8 months pregnant. We lost water for the last 3 days. Our water well got busted as well. So although we're covering a lot of the property stuff, we're moving trees, we're doing all that, we have, you know, great support from the community and friends and family so far that I was going to say document everything because we're having to move fast to get our animals back outside as well. So definitely documenting all of that. But did you get any advice from any of your you know, advisors as far as like the medical side of any kind of effect from tornadoes, like being 8 months pregnant and kind of under that stress? Like, is there something that I should be doing on a medical side that like I want to make sure that I cover, like if there's any kind of assistance there? I thought I was going to go into labor that night, and I was literally like barricaded for like 15 hours in a bathroom. Like, is there any relief that or any kind of assistance that I should be looking into for anything like that?
I can't tell you that I was given any advices on women that are in term and, you know, what they should be looking at, you know, post tornadic activity. It's just not something that was given to me. I have a wife that's gone through 4 births, but thank God not one during a tornado.
Yeah.
So,
I was just trying not to have a baby. That's all I was really worried about.
till you're ready.
Right?
I
You
am
know-
going to chime in again.
Okay.
Make sure you keep all of your receipts for anything that you have removed from your property or any temporary repairs that you have. That, along with that's documentation for the insurance company.
Might be a good time for you all to tell them anything and everything that they should be putting on the side of the road, since we're talking
Solid
about
Waste Authority is here to help us with that.
and when that stuff might become probably a good time, since people are asking about that kind of thing. If somebody wants to.
And I would say on that, maybe, do you have health insurance? I would reach out to them because they may have a program, you know. This was really scary, right? And we talk about, you know, PTSD, right? And a lot of things can bring that on. And I get it. I've been in some serious floods and it rains and I get, you know. So I would definitely reach out to your health insurance and see if they can offer anything to you for that. And maybe, you know, just have them go do a checkup, you know, just something preventative, just make sure everything is okay. Because stress can do a lot of horrible things to our body. So I would absolutely reach out to them tomorrow. You're welcome.
I'm going to add to that. if you don't mind.
Please.
Also, if you haven't already, please see your doctor. Get a checkup. Make sure everything checks out okay.
I have a couple of different questions. One is, do you have access to the drone footages that the county and the sheriff's departments have been taking of our properties that have been destroyed, so we can use that as well for our insurance companies, for people like her maybe, that if you guys have that drone footage, shows before and after, you know, that might be able to help her out.
It's a request I'm sure all of us would be happy to put through to the sheriff in any of the counties that are dealing with this. I know I've been up in Birds and got some of my own footage, but if they have footage, I think that's a great request to say, hey, you know the people that are hit, they could really use the documentation. I'm
I'll
sure.
add to
Mine on
that.
TV, YouTube, and everywhere, so I know it's out there, so.
One of two things, if you want to either find me after the meeting or John Carter back there, who also works with me, we can make a list of anyone who might need that and see if we can work with the sheriff's office and get that for you.
All right.
It was very isolated, right? Specific neighborhood, specific neighborhood, specific neighborhood. So it shouldn't be difficult for them to get you yours.
Next question is, who in this room is representing FP&L?
Unfortunately, no one is here from FPL today. They're all busy out there trying to get everything done. But if you have an issue, please leave your information and we'll connect you with the right person.
I have more of a comment.
Okay.
Because the fact that they go into a neighborhood and they work on 2 houses and then they leave that neighborhood instead of finishing the neighborhood, what part of that is, you know, making any sense? You do 2 streets over, you get that one, you go to another street, you do one, and then you leave and go somewhere else. You don't finish where you're working. So, I mean, I would turn that one to you and say, somebody needs to you know, throw the hammer down at FPNL. And then sending our people that are working down here, they send them to Tampa and everywhere else instead of finishing their local communities.
I'll give you one example of dealings that I've had with them that doesn't apply exactly to you, but to say might be some reason why they skip around in part. I have some neighborhoods where you have destroyed homes, and they want to fix certain parts of it, but they can't yet get to, because they might not have the property rights to get on. Even though they own the meter, they might not have the property rights because it's a trailer or it's something else. Trailers are designated differently than a brick and mortar home. A trailer literally has a license plate on it. It's designated differently. And so if they start running current to all these places, they might light up that pile of debris into now a fire. And so they're skipping that spot right here and going to this one, a couple one down. I can't say that that's your situation, but I can tell you that it's a situation that we've dealt with in other counties where they had to move around because of those kind of things. So I'm not a lineman. I can't answer all of them, but I know there are some.
I mean, it would just be nice if at least people could hear from them, know what's going on. Because, you know, to come into an area, especially somebody like me, I've got 8 kids, you know.
I would pass that on to them. They
I've
wanna
got
hear
a
from
bunch of animals on my property as well, which everything's destroyed. This is my neighbor here. His
I will pass
property's
that on
destroyed.
immediately. Listen, FP&L, community would just love to have some more community. They're glad that you're out there on lines, but they'd love to have communication like we all want, so.
And guys, also reach out to local contractors to walk through your house and let them. So that's one simple way to make sure you don't miss anything.
Can I just add for FPL, we were going online and trying to report that we didn't have power, and every time we did, it was saying that we did have power, and so it wasn't reflecting an update on their system. So we called to make sure that we were in the system, that they knew we didn't have power, and the fellow that answered the phone was in West Palm, and he told us that yes, they had a record, they were working on it. We did get kind of the standard answer. But I think if you call them and you tell them you have 8 children and we're on wells, they might help try to push your property, your area up to the top, because living with 8 children with no power and no water is miserable. I can only imagine. So please do give them a call. I wish I could remember the number off the top of my head. I just remember it ends in 9700, and I will find it and I will give it to you after the meeting. So just.
I got good neighbors, and everybody knows that we went back to the old west and animals are free ranging.
Right. Just one other thing I want to add, unless you want to speak on the FPL thing.
I was just gonna ask, how many people in the room how many people in the room don't have power? Okay, make sure we have your addresses before you leave.
Yes,
Yeah.
please, provide them.
Right.
I would say just number one, ma'am, and I think I speak for Maria, Sarah, everybody up here, just for a level of comfort, you got to give the insurance company a chance to go out there and do it, but if it just makes you more comfortable, one of us would be out there. We have staff that would be happy to be out there, whether if it's, you say, just because it makes you more comfortable to have somebody else with you, that's not going to let you get run over, or, you know, if you say because it's of a language barrier or anything else, let me know, let my staff know, let Maria know, let any one of us know, whatever you're most comfortable with, and we'll get somebody out there to help you for when that day comes. You just let us know when that day comes.
We are there because, you know, we are 8 people, so, you know, that I have no relative here. Even, you know, just time, I don't like the people bother because this situation may be very, you know, that, people say, go hotel, but I have to pay the money to hotel. You just come, someone say you just will cover. We'll cover, not that thing now.
FEMA can assist you with hotel as well, or lodging of a different kind. And I mentioned that, it's a good time to mention it again. FEMA can assist you with a hotel. They can assist you with a rental home. They can assist you with bringing a trailer, fifth wheel, camper type thing to your home. There's a number of ways that they can assist you, or just individual assistance with a check. It's likely not going to be at a high dollar amount, but it is something. And again, so make sure to get the information from our staff, or if FEMA does end up bringing people by, certainly getting their information will help you through that as well.
And because I saw that my area has, somebody has big power, but I have no, I might want to do, you know, for my area, you know, coconut blue, but that's my house. I have big power, even I have got my water pumping, it's broken. I don't know when, you know, fix it, who will do that? And, you know, just, I'm trying to contact, but I did not get any.
We're happy to help you get in contact with somebody. Happy to help you, ma'am.
Through the chair.
Harris, why don't you
Congressman,
make sure to get her information? We'll help her out.
Congressman, can you please give us, how do we contact your office, like for residents that need assistance? Can you give that on the record, please, so that we've got a,
Ross, you give out a list of numbers, whatever numbers we're giving people right now.
We're basically just asking people to call our district offices, whether it's 14,
Give the number. Thank you.
Right now. Not to put you on the spot or anything, but please.
because some people,
He'll give
even
you the
their
number in just
Wi-Fi
one moment.
signal or their cell phone signal is not very good, so looking up information is not that easy.
And that's a good opportunity to say something else about this. If you have some of our communities, they just don't have cell service right now. And so we do have computers from the office that have service. If you're looking to make that FEMA application, to do something with them, by the way, you do need a driver's license. You do need social security information for everybody in your home. Those are things that you need to do FEMA. We have computers as well. If you don't have that service, you don't have something that's charged, you don't have an ability to do it, let us know. We can get you the hardware that you need to get that done as well. You got the numbers, Ross?
And
So if everybody has their pen and paper ready, the number to call our office is 561 530 7778. Again, 561 530 7778. You can get that this evening after on the GPMs. That would be helpful.
Or get their individual cards, and you have their, direct desk numbers, things like that immediately as well. But
Congressman? I'd just like to say, we also have the public library right down here that you guys can access computers, and they should have Wi-Fi and all that set up, internet. So if you needed help, I think the library would be a great source for that.
Congressman? Also, they need to, I hope everybody knows who their insurance company is or who their agent is, but they need to call the claim number at their insurance company to start the process of the claim process. I've been Googling to get those claim numbers for my clients. I'm talking as Keith, a citizen, not as a board member or anything else, but if anybody needs help trying to reach their insurance company, I'll be glad after the meeting to give you information just as a concerned citizens, because I can help you try to find that claim number to get in touch with the insurance company. Thank you.
And if I may, there's some folks online that did not hear that phone number. Could you just repeat that, please, one more time? Sorry.
Yes, it's 561 530 7778.
Thank you so much.
The gentleman had I'm sorry. Go ahead.
We're conserving power, so just, trying to be green today.
AT&T, I called, our line is down, our neighbors, they don't have it. I spent an hour on the phone with them, and they set up a date to come and fix the line, and then shortly thereafter, I got a text saying that there's a bigger problem than fixing individual lines, and that they cannot give me a date when they are going to come and fix the individual lines. And everybody's asking, what's the bigger problem? And they don't have an answer, and they can't say when they're going to come and hook it up. So people are without the internet and so forth. So I just don't know if anybody for AT&T is here, or if there's any information on what the major outage is that they can't come and fix individual lines.
I wouldn't pretend to know what they're saying is the bigger issue beyond what we see going on here. But I can tell you this, all of our desks and, every representative in Washington, D.C., every senator, right? These companies, they have legislative affairs office, and we're happy to specifically speak to them about your problem, right? We're happy to get your information, say, this is what you were told. Whose number can you give us about why this gentleman can't get a date, about when and where and how his services are going to be turned back on? And like you all know, just at normal times in life, it matters to put pressure on things. Squeaky wheel gets the grease, as the old saying goes. So if we have to just make the wheel a little squeakier in whatever the lane is, just let us know what that lane is, and we will make some noise on it. So again, just give us we'll make some noise on that. And this is an important point to know. It's not just about being a squeaky wheel. You do have a lot of eyes on this area. And to give evidence of that, like I said, 2 days ago, the FEMA administrator was in town going through the 3 counties. Doesn't mean she spent, an hour inside each of every community, but she was there looking and seeing, and I'm sure for herself, making individual assessments for her about how she was going to deploy individuals. She didn't share absolutely everything with me, but I'm sure she had to have been, as somebody in that role, making assessments about how she was going to deploy people. Senator Scott was here on the ground with me, and we were in the air yesterday over a number of areas, right? And so the point I'm making is, be aware. Maybe you got to see that they were on the ground, maybe you didn't, but I want you to know that they are here, and they are paying attention, and they are looking, and they are trying to do what they can from their lane, where they are responsible. So.
Let's do a couple of things. Solid Waste Authority is here. Let's have them speak. And then I know there was a question about permitting for fences. We have some representatives from the county here that can answer that question too, but why don't you come on up? Or whoever wants to.
And I'll step off, and if there's another question for me, I'll get it later, but I'll be here.
Thank you, Congressman.
Good afternoon. Patrick Carroll, Managing Director, Solid Waste Authority. I'm also joined today by Paul Gonzalez, also Solid Waste Authority, and in the back, John Archambo, who is with Ashbrit. And I wanted to thank everybody for the opportunity to come by this afternoon and give you just a brief update on where we are, what we're doing, and how we plan to move forward. So since Thursday, we've been out there assessing the entire county, actually, this area obviously in particular. As I know, all of you know, the rest of the county was only very minorly impacted by the storm. That should allow us to focus all of our resources on you, on this area, and get this cleaned up as quickly as possible. So, as the Congressman mentioned, we got the declaration, from yesterday afternoon. That puts a lot of things in motion. We were already working on all of these things, assuming that declaration was coming. We have engaged our debris management contractors. These are the special emergency contracts that we have in place for just such an occasion. Ashbrit is going to be the primary contractor there. They're going to be responsible for collecting the debris and then operating the debris management site, which we've set up. And then also Thompson, which is another one of our contractors. They're responsible for monitoring the collection, documenting everything, and making sure that we can maximize our reimbursement from FEMA. So starting tomorrow, our temporary debris management site at our landfill site on Jog Road will be open. We'll be certifying collection vehicles. We will be accepting both vegetative and construction debris, okay? That's for contractors and municipalities. So Solid Waste Authority, as most of you probably know, we're responsible for the unincorporated areas. So we're responsible for collection of garbage and recycling and storm debris in the unincorporated areas. We also work very closely with all of the municipalities. So we'll be working closely with Gardens, with Wellington, with Loxahatchee Groves, with all of them to aid them in disposal of the material once it's collected. Collection of the material, those efforts are going to be starting tomorrow as well, okay? We're going to be, generally speaking, we're going to be starting in the hardest hit areas. We're going to be moving from south to north, and then we'll be expanding out in a grid pattern, okay? So we will be starting in the acreage, in Palm Beach Country Estates and Jupiter Farms. On Monday, there will be some collection started. We'll be ramping those efforts up in the coming days and weeks. Do not worry about missing your opportunity, okay? We will be making multiple passes in most of these areas, especially in the hard-hit areas. We'll be making multiple passes, so you do not have to worry and try to rush and get your stuff out to the curb. To touch on the issue that a couple of people had brought up, we cannot go on private property, so we cannot enter your lot and go and pick it up. It has to be on the curb. If the structure, whether it be your home, your shed, if the structure is deemed to be a total loss, your roof is gone or half your roof is gone, it has to be replaced. That becomes, as several people have mentioned, that's an insurance company issue, and they will pay for the demolition and the removal of that waste as part of your insurance claim, okay? Once you bring the material to the curb, what we're asking people to do is, to the best of their ability, to separate the piles into vegetative piles and construction materials. So fencing, shingles, whatever it may be. That just makes it easier for us. Vegetative waste is much easier to deal with than construction waste. Most of the storms that we've had since I've been doing this for over 30 years, and most of the storms that we've had have been primarily vegetative events. This is one of the few exceptions where we have quite a substantial amount of construction demolition debris. So that stuff, if you can, try to separate it. It's going to get picked up regardless, okay? Everything will be picked up regardless. The 6-yard limit is not in effect for storm debris, for vegetation, okay?
That's what we wanted to hear.
We haven't set a date. It'll be as long, I mean, so we suspect, or I suspect that the vast majority of this debris will be picked up in the first 3 to 4 weeks, okay? So we expect the vast majority, not all of it, but the vast majority of it will be picked up in the first few weeks, okay? But be patient. The entire effort could take 60 days or more, 60 to 90 days to get everything completely done, cleaned up, wrapped up from our perspective. But again, we'll be making multiple passes. So to answer your question, I would say that suspension of the 6 yards will be at least a month, probably longer, if we need to.
Don't take this as an opportunity to go into the trees that are in grid condition. This is strictly for the.
Precise.
I don't even think I can get to the road in 60 days.
Well, if we need to go longer, we will, okay? But yes, and thank you, Commissioner, because that is an excellent point. This is not the opportunity. This is for storm debris, okay? That's not the opportunity to do wholesale trimming and cutting and thinking that FEMA's going to pay for that, because yeah, exactly. So,
And if I may add also, when you are putting it out, please try to keep it off the roadway. We're seeing a lot of the debris entering the road. It will impede not only traffic, but road maintenance. And it becomes very complicated for staff to deal with that. And it could be hazard. I was just reading this morning, as a matter of fact, that one of the roads was completely blocked, that cars couldn't get through because there was so much being put into the roadway. So if you can kind of keep it on the edge of the swale, not so much in the culvert, because we also don't want to block that, right? So we're kind of limited, but definitely out of the roadway and try not to block the drainage. I know it's not going to be easy for everybody, but until these guys can come and get it picked up, the best we can do with that, the better it'll be for the entire community. So thank you, guys.
And that's a great point. The Indian Trail staff has identified some of the areas where the debris is causing issues with narrowing lanes and things, so we will try to get those areas touched on first. Also, if you can try to avoid putting it right next to your mailbox or right next to a fire hydrant or something like that, you know, you gotta remember we've got automated vehicles and clamp trucks and things coming along, and we don't want to destroy something that, you know, we don't have to, obviously, to try to. Yes, sir.
Don't put it under where power lines are because they can't get to it there.
Another great point, and especially, I know I've seen several down lines. I know it's just common sense, but don't try to trim those trees that are wrapped around in the power lines. FP&L will do that. They'll bring it out to the curb. In terms of size and weight, there aren't any really specific guidelines. You just, you know, 10 feet or so. It has to be able to fit in the back of a truck. In terms of things like giant stumps, those can be put out. Don't be surprised if they don't get picked up on the first go around, because typically what we do is for the stumps, we leave those until the end, okay? So that would be done on purpose. If everything else gets picked up and that gets left, that's being done on purpose, okay? We will come back and get that. Oversized items. The other thing that I wanted to mention is the SWA website is a great resource. We will have, starting, I would say probably Wednesday or Thursday, we will have a tab on our webpage where you will be able to go in, and there will be an app, and it will show you where the contractors are working, okay, and how they're progressing. So you can look at that, and you can look at your address, and you can say, okay, well, they were here yesterday, they're probably going to be on my house tomorrow, you know. It's updated on a daily basis. We will, you know, continue to do that through the end of the recovery period. Yes, sir.
Does the 4-foot rule apply for the trees?
No, the 4-foot rule does not apply. Again, it has to be, you know, able to get into the back of the truck. So it can't be more than about 10 feet. If it is, it has to be cut up into a smaller size so that we can get it into the back of the truck. But,
Excuse me. People who are putting it in their trailers and bringing it to the dump, the fact that isn't covered and that.
correct, sure. Yeah. So yeah, if you want to, you know, not wait and you want to try, okay, I guess the simplest way to answer that is you can bring construction debris to the landfill in your own trailer, but it would be, at that point, it would be subject to the posted rate, which is $80 a ton, okay? That's not reimbursable by FEMA or anybody else. If you were to bring it on your own, then you would be on the hook for that, okay? The same for vegetation. We would take it, and we will take it, but the best thing to do is bring it to the curb, and it will get picked up.
Excuse me. We had 2 RVs that were on our property that were destroyed, but their chassis are still in one piece. So there's a 33-foot and a 39-foot. What happens with that? Right now it's on the front. We were able to get it to the front, but is that going to, what do I have to do for that to be picked up?
That's a good question, and I'm not sure I know the answer to that one. I'll have to get your information and get back to you on that one.
Tires are still on it, yeah.
I would think that's an insurance claim, and the insurance company would be responsible for removing that.
That would not be something that we would typically handle.
I would contact your insurance company.
You mean homeowner's insurance or RV insurance?
Or your RV.
Yeah, however you have it insured, yes.
Can I also ask a question? If If someone had so much tree debris that was down, because I know that there are several folks here, and they've told me that the front of their property is already full, and they're not even they haven't even put a dent into the amount of debris they have. So that's the first question. The second question is, people have asked, well, when they say, just people affected by the tornado, there are still a lot of people in our community, including my own property, that had down trees, even though we weren't in the path of the tornado. So is the 6-yard going to be waived for the whole area, or is it only a specific line?
So our thinking at the moment, I mean, whether you were in the impacted area or the specific area impacted by the tornado or not, we will be sending the debris contractors around to the entire acreage, the entire Jupiter Farms, the entire Country Estates, all of the unincorporated areas. The 6-yard limit, we would like people on the unaffected or under-affected areas to try to stay within the 6-yard limit, yes. It will get picked up. We will be lenient on that for the duration of the recovery. In answer to your other question, I guess the way that I would answer that is that you can put material on the curb and you can stack it up behind what's on the curb for about, what, John, maybe 10 feet, something like that? The truck can still get it?
Yes.
And then, other than that, you would probably we'd have to wait till the second pass came through, and or after the first pass came through, and then take some more out there, and we would get it on the second pass.
And if you don't mind, what we're going to do too is we're going to work closely with the Solid Waste Authority to identify who these places are, so we don't disrupt you, because we know how it is when we got volunteers, crews, and people helping you. Our goal is to kind of start and clean up those areas, isolate them, identify them, because this is all an effort together as one. And we're gonna work with the authority to clean that up, so we make sure you have space to continue bringing that out and keeping it going. So that's our goal.
Yep.
We'll be working close with the authority.
Great,
Yeah,
thank
go
you.
ahead,
And
Paul.
Can
go ahead.
everybody hear me?
Yes.
Glad to see my Marine Corps voice is still with me.
Yeah.
All right, so first and foremost, my name is Paul Gonzalez. I'm with the Customer Service Department. If you ever called us, you probably got me or my team. I want to give you my cell phone number, all right? And the reason being, I'll explain in a second. So my personal cell phone number is 561-236-1186. If you didn't get it, you'll find out the meeting where I give it to you. And the reason being is because we have this ArcGIS mapping system. And what we're doing, what we've done since Thursday morning early is we sent our field teams out all over the county, like Patrick said. And we are documenting all these piles. Because we do understand, just because your home wasn't in the tornado path, that doesn't mean you don't have storm debris. So we've documented it, we got pictures, we have a GPS location, and we're continuously updating that as we're going out in the field. So obviously, we're gonna do a first push through the heavy documented area, which is all along 40th, up and down 130th, Coconut. And then as things start to slow down, we start clearing these roads, we're gonna start spreading out. Now, as far as the 6 cubic yard limit, for your normal garbage company, your waste management, Waste Pros who you have out here, they're sticking to 6 cubic yards or less. If you're in the area where you don't technically have storm debris, but let's say you got 12, 13 yards from fallen palm fronds, right? We still ask that you put out 6 yards at a time if you want that to get picked up by them. And then the following week, put out your next 6. And because they have to stick to their 6 cubic yard limit. They don't have the extra assets like the companies, Ashbrit, that are coming in here to pick up all the extra debris. Now, they will, towards the end of this, because there's going to be a point where Ashbrit has done their job, that they're going to pass the baton to your local garbage company. We are working with them right now to amend their contracts to allow them to pick up storm debris. So don't worry, like Patrick said, everything's going to get picked up. I know the gentleman over here said he still doesn't even have half his stuff out. So we're gonna do a sweep, we're gonna get all the big stuff, we're gonna come back through, do a sweep again, and then once everything settles, we're probably gonna do another sweep with your normal garbage company.
Correct. Yeah.
Thank you.
Good- good-
Excuse me.
Good point.
My name is Paul. I'll spell my last name for you.
And on that same.
Gon.
Before we go any further,
XALVES.
sorry to interrupt you, I'm so sorry. Congressman Mast has to get going, so if anyone has any additional questions for the congressman, please take this opportunity. And Kenny, I don't know if there's anybody online. We have 2 people online with questions, so if we could just have Congressman come up one more time, and then we'll get right back to SWA, because I know that's really important for everybody, but he's got to get going to go help other communities. So any other questions in the room for the congressman?
So Veterans Administration adaptability housing, if it's something that you need specifically related to a temporary housing that you might need, if you're going into a hotel, if you're going into a rental property, absolutely that's something that we can work through the VA to make sure that your adaptive needs are met. Is there a specially adapted housing grant or something like that that goes through the VA beyond what a veteran might have already received specifically related to the storm? No, there's not that. And then for many of our veterans that bank with USAA or some of the military prominent banks, you know, your Navy Federal Credit, things like that, absolutely they will have things adjusted to timelines related to if you were affected by the storms.
Thank you. Anybody else in the room?
I do have one other question. Is there special assistance available? Because we do have some residents that have ADA requirements, elderly, you know, they're not able to get out and do anything. Is there any special assistance available for these types of folks who need that help?
Just to say, from
Besides-
our level
besides-
for things that I'm
yeah.
in, we'll go to anybody's home, number one. Just to say, from my level, if somebody needs help from my office with FEMA or with anything else, we'll make sure the FEMA people visit their home personally, or we'll get there personally, or whatever it is. Beyond that, state to local to city to county to every
Okay.
agency is different.
So if we know of, you know, some residents that really are having difficulties with that, then the best thing would be to call your office to
We'll
get the
there.
assistance
100%,
and,
we'll go by.
okay, all right,
Thank
thank
you.
you, I appreciate
Thank
It
that.
doesn't have to be more difficult than that. We'll just go by, see what their needs are, and we'll
Get them help, okay, thank you, appreciate it.
Kenny, you want to go ahead and get the first person online to ask their question, please? Nanda, you need to unmute, hon. Nanda, there you go.
Yeah, I wanted to know if the homeowner policy will cover your automobile if it got damaged from the tornado.
For anybody looking at any of their policies, you got to look at it specifically. State Farm writes it differently than USAA writes it differently than, you know, take your pick of all the insurers out there. But from everything that I've seen, of extensive automobile damage, whether it was just pushed into a tree or whether it was thrown to an entirely other yard, yes, those are things that are falling in the same way. Everything falls under, in all likelihood for you, this named storm. Most all of you, unless you have some very specially written insurance policy, is going to fall under Hurricane Milton. If you are under, this goes to insurance, and usually there's questions about this, there weren't any today, but if you are in the cone of the hurricane, if you are under a hurricane watch for that area, anything that happens to you, whether it's related to wind, flood, tornadoes that are individual, even if the storm wasn't, even if the literal eye wall wasn't even on the other coast of Florida yet, if you're in that cone under a hurricane watch, your insurance policy probably says that those tornadoes or everything are under that named storm, which is what's the old saying, 6 of one, half dozen of another. It can be a good thing, is not a good thing, right? You're covered under the storm, and your vehicles are covered under the storm in that way, but it also means that your deductible is related to the percentage that you would pay according to a hurricane instead of the percentage that you would pay according to, I don't know, let's say if a tornado happened in the middle of February or something like that. So
We weren't in the cone, we were in the watch.
you
Yes,
were under
my
a hurricane watch area is what I. Is
hurricane,
tropical
yes,
storm, okay, tropical
tropical
storm watch area.
storm.
That is a good thing to ask specifically.
Yes, but my insurance company told me I have to file my car damage under my auto insurance.
I didn't hear if there was a question.
I I said my homeowner insurance told me I have to file my car damage under my auto insurance.
Correct.
They're not covering it.
They'll
Or
cover
it's
it.
not the adjuster told me it's not covered by the policy, the homeowner policy. It have to go under the auto policy.
The encouragement is definitely read your policy. Some of them are going to be different.
And don't take no as your first answer.
And that goes back to that.
Yeah, I
the-
thought
the first
whatever is
statement.
damage under the hurricane will cover it because I have hurricane policy. So I have to see what it said after.
I'm sure for some of these providers, it can depend on too, whether it was sitting in your garage, whether it was sitting in a driveway, whether it was sitting off your property on a side of a road somewhere. I'm sure all of those things make a difference depending on how your specific policy was written as well.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, Ross, you have a point on this?
Sorry, I'm losing my voice. If you guys haven't already, at the same time you're talking to your insurance companies, talk to FEMA. You need to create a profile on the FEMA disasterassistance.gov website. FEMA will cover one vehicle. So if you're having one vehicle, you pick your most expensive vehicle if you have multiple, but they'll cover one vehicle.
Covered in what way specifically, Ross?
As a part of your property when it comes to damage, overall damage calculation. So the same as your house, the same as your wells, they will cover up to one vehicle. So that's what you need to look at. So make sure you're also looking. The term vehicle is not described. It just says one vehicle. So you may be able to go beyond that. And if you're having agricultural issues, the U.S. Department of Agriculture also has disaster programs for affected properties such as wells, livestock loss, land loss for grazing and stuff like that. So please reach out. I'll
What
be
was that
around
website again?
Disasterassistance.gov. It's FEMA's website. Even if you go to FEMA.gov, they'll redirect you to the disaster assistance website. And there should be a center opening up in the county within a week after the disaster declaration was signed for people to go, and it will be ADA accessible. That's one of the requirements for that building. And then within the next 24 to 48 hours, FEMA folks will be walking door to door with tablets to help you apply for disaster assistance.
With respect to the one vehicle limit, is there a different sort of claim that you need to file? For example, I'm not sure if I know anybody who's in this situation, but if they had a home-based business that had more than one vehicle damaged and it's part of their business, I think I saw on Facebook there, somebody with a tree across two of their vehicles. So if that's their work business vehicles, would that be a claim under a business?
Yes, it would.
Claim?
Businesses
Okay.
are different than just your private vehicle.
Right.
So it'd be separate claims for businesses as opposed to your residential property and
Okay.
residential vehicles.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
That would be under the comprehensive on their auto policies.
Any other questions for me?
I think
3 more, 4 more.
online. Kenny? We're not going to let you leave, Congressman.
okay.
Dina?
Okay, we've got Paula next. Paula, can you unmute your microphone? Thank you.
Yes, can you hear me?
Yes.
So we have a neighbor who's a veteran who had a lot of damage in his yard and he had it cleaned up already. We're trying to see if there's any assistance for him because they charged him a pretty hefty fee. Any help in like paying that bill or anything for having all his trees and stuff removed from his yard. He's at the point now where he feels like he might have to sell his home because they had charged him so much and he's on disability and he can't afford it. So is there anything like that for people?
Yeah, we didn't cover this part of it specifically, but it's an opportunity to say, listen, if at any point anybody feels like there's any price gouging, something not honest going on, You should report that. Every single one of us up here takes that very seriously, as well as anybody in law enforcement. Everybody takes that very seriously. So if you think there's people out there scamming, taking advantage of, everybody wants to know that so they can bring that to an end immediately and, you know, find them in an alley somewhere or something like that. Beyond that, it's to say we can work through, from my lane, FEMA individual assistance. And I don't know if you were online before, but I said one of the most important things I could say about FEMA individual assistance is, while it might cap out at $43,000 roughly, and that is there's what's possible and what's probable. That's possible to get. It's far more probable that an individual receives something more like $4,300 from FEMA, but it is an option to have that individual assistance to help make up that loss for that individual.
Through the chair.
Okay, thank you.
Can I also just add that there is, the property appraiser put out a post. I'm not sure if anybody's here from the property appraiser's office, but there's state statutes regarding, they have the authority, the property appraiser has the authority for anybody who's been impacted by the storm, that you can actually fill out an application with the property appraiser's office as well, and there may be some assistance through that. So please take a look. I did post that on my Facebook page. I think it was this morning or yesterday. But if you just go to the Palm Beach County Property Appraiser site, there's information there.
You could take it to absolutely any one of us, and we'll take it through the channels that need to go to say, hey, find this person, right? Whether
Jimmy
it's
Petronas.
delivering it directly to the governor's
Department
office,
of
and
Ag.
he delivers it to, you know, Jimmy, or you name it, right?
And I'd like to add too, there's been some reports about some looting that's been going on. Immediately call PBSO if you see something suspicious like that. Apparently there's been a white box truck driving around, scoping out people's properties. The vehicle that ended up in the park, same situation there. So if you see something, say something. It's worth the phone call.
Your sheriff and your sheriff's deputies, they take it very seriously.
Yeah.
And if you want your sheriff to have a permanent presence somewhere that there isn't one at night because the power's out, the lights are out, the whatever, you just say that, and I can guarantee that the sheriff will have a presence over there. So. Name the place, and again, some of this is, you don't know what you don't know, right? For myself, I don't know what I don't know if I haven't spoken to you, but if there's a lane that there's an assistance that I need, I know I speak for every one of these people right now, you tell us, and we will find the resource to get over there. And if they want to push back against it, we'll push back harder. That's the truth of it. It's out there. People are going to come dig through it. If there's a home that people left because they moved into a hotel, somebody's going to look for that, and they're going to try to walk through it and find what they can. And so, absolutely, if there's a specific place where you're seeing where there's a gap, please let us know, and we will tell the sheriff immediately, listen, residents are identifying that there is a gap here, and just needs to be more of a presence divided up between the sheriff's department and, this PD and this PD. It might not be the exact jurisdiction, but everybody comes together to work together as community, at this point, in moments like this. Just don't let it not be said. Let it be said, and then get it done.
And if you know somebody's alone on their property, like this young lady, or that your neighbor's property is vacant, keep an extra eye out, when you're out there. Let the other neighbors know. Work together. I mean, this community has come together. I mean, it's amazing, and this is what I love about our area. We've really come together to help each other, and it's been phenomenal. So let's just continue to look out for each other and help each other as best we can. Obviously, don't confront anyone. That's the police's job, but definitely call PBSO. Well, all right.
There are stand your ground laws.
Yes, there are,
There are
but
stand your ground laws. If they come on your property, you have the right to defend your property.
Okay.
I don't have the answer how long state of emergency will be in effect for. I mentioned it before. FEMA administrator was on the ground. Senator Scott was on the ground. Governor's been on the ground as well. So again, just be aware that everybody is paying attention to it. And everybody that has contact with the governor union, everybody works to stay in contact and keep everybody updated as to what needs are or what's taking place.
Congressman, I know you're being summoned out of here. You gotta go. So I just wanted to take a moment and thank you so much. Thank you for answering.
Thank you.
At 9 o'clock.
Just again, final word is, don't let it go unsaid. If there's an assistance that's needed, maybe we don't have it directly, but we can damn sure find the people that do have that, right? So just let us know. Let Maria know, let Sarah know, let anybody up here know, and we will find the places to get the assistance. It might not mean that it comes in the next hour, but we'll be in contact with you to give you a realistic expectation of when and how and who and where that can take place. So just don't let it go unsaid. We'll all work together to get through this together. So thanks, guys.
Thank you,
Thank you
Congressman.
so much. Okay, does anybody else have any more questions for SWA?
SWA?
Yes, absolutely, go ahead.
So I'm Richard Glenn with the town of Waxahachie Groves. I'm the Director of Public Works. So Solid Waste Authority made the comment that they're going to go through the affected area first in unincorporated Palm Beach County. The town of Waxahachie Groves, our contractor, which is Coastal Waste Services, we have suspended vegetative pickup for coastal waste services. Only if you live within the corporate boundary of the town of Waxahachie Groves. We have contracted with Ashbridge, and they will be going through the entire town. But we ask that if you're going to put your stuff out, much like Indian Trail said, do not put it in the road. Please don't put it on our canal banks. And make sure it's separated, just like Solid Waste Authority had stated. Construction debris in one pile and vegetative debris in another. But that is only if you live within the corporate boundaries of the town of Waxahachie Groves. And if you're not sure, there's two ways to find out. One, if you live off of a lettered road, you're probably in Waxahachie Groves. Or go to the property appraiser's office, look at your parcel control number. If it starts with 00, you are in unincorporated Palm Beach County. Thank you.
Thank you, Richard.
Yes, sir.
There's a transition. There's the stuff that you pick up on the roads, but if trees have fallen across the canal on the access roads, whose responsibility is that?
Those are what we call leaners and hangers, okay? So we got a name for those. If it's,
When you say access road, is it within Indian Trail? Because we don't have access roads. Are you talking about the canal bank?
I'm on a canal.
Okay.
And a tree fell across the road behind my property, across the canal, and across to the other property.
So ITID will be taking care of that. That hasn't been a life safety issue, so it hasn't been a priority. But if you let staff know before you leave where that's located, also you can do a maintenance request online and put those kinds of details in there.
correct. Generally speaking, if it's on completely and 100% on your property, you have to chop it up and bring it to the curb. If it's leaning and it's partially onto a right-of-way, a canal, or something like that, then they'll be taking care of it, or we'll be taking care of it, and the entire tree will be dealt with.
The only reason I asked is because I pay taxes all the way to the middle of the canal, so I didn't
Right.
know who was responsible for that.
Thank you.
Well, again, as I mentioned earlier, that probably is an insurance issue. I mean, Well,
That's your insurance.
I mean, I'm certainly no insurance expert, but I will say that, the adjuster will come in, they'll look at it, and, what they pay you for the demolition and, ultimately the disposal of that, it has to equate to, well, in line with your policy, obviously, but it has to equate to, what you can get it done, so.
And speaking of things going across fencing, Mr. Vetter, would you come up and let's talk about that for a minute. We've got a lot of fencing out here. We've got large properties. People are going to have to be replacing it. How are we going to have to deal with this? Are we all going to have to go down and get a permit to replace the fencing that was existing?
So let me take it a step back above fencing. First thing first, secure your property and secure your property safely if you haven't done so already. I think that's a basic understood. Don't extend beyond your skills as well. If you've got structural damage to your house, you need to secure it. Then you bring in a contract, you bring someone else in to address that. So don't go beyond your means. As we get into fencing, if you're replacing a fence that's in place, you've gathered the pieces up and you're putting it back together, you just do that. Done that twice. I live up in Jupiter. My PVC fence has fallen apart twice, and those pieces have been put back together again. Beyond that, if you're looking at it, boy, I always thought I wanted to extend it, I wanted to do this, and I'm talking about a fence where you're not changing anything. You're just putting the pieces back together. You just do it. If you're looking beyond that, call. We will have messaging available for you. We'll have people that can answer the question. If you think you might be doing a little bit beyond that, maybe I'm in the area, maybe I'm not, call and ask. But there's absolutely no doubt about it. You're putting the pieces back as it was before. You go do that right now. Anything beyond that, because you might look at it, you might bring in a contractor, take advantage of the opportunity, which is totally appropriate. Maybe I'll do a little bit more, maybe I'll extend it, maybe I'll do this. Call and ask and follow through on it. But you can absolutely put it back in place as it was.
And may I add to that, if you are calling up and getting those answers, get the name of the person that you're speaking to. Because sometimes what happens is we'll call up, one person will have an answer they think is correct, and then another person might call up and get somebody completely different, and they might have a different answer. So always document every phone call that you make.
And if you do come across that, please email my office.
Yes,
I would
sir.
also add,
As far as like, my fence is down, the posts are broke, the trees have ripped through the posts are broken, they're all, knocked down, the cattle, not the cattle fence, but the no horse climb fence is all ripped apart. I'm not able to put that back up. If I go buy new posts and go put new fencing up, is that a permit, or is that repairing?
You're replacing it in place.
It's going to be identical to what it was.
I try not to nitpick this, because every situation has the potential to be different.
Right.
What you're describing to me, you're putting it back in place, you're good to go.
Okay, even though some of it's new.
Understand, some of the pieces might be new, right? You may not have all the same ones because you lost half of them, and you could go find them and buy them at Home Depot to fill in the blanks.
The identical fence.
Understood. Yes, ma'am.
Again, document everything.
But you know that my area fence is totally just blue and it's broken, all of them. That wood, nothing is totally, just empty my place. And that door is totally just, that this is not like plastic thing, then okay, I can bag, but my one is all are gone. Just that's why, my picture is in your video, then you can, even I can give my address. My fence is totally flew, and all of them is my tree, everything. So not, just, even
Sorry.
not a single piece I cannot.
No, understand, and I think you're talking about a situation there where you're probably gonna go hire somebody to come in and build a new one and replace it, I presume, if you're saying it's totally destroyed.
So that
Presuming
means
that to be the case, you bring someone in, have them call and double check and ask. I don't know, there's no reason why they can't just go out and do the work. But if that's the case, you wanna follow up, and you'll find that dedicated information available on the building division website. And to be clear, I heard some voices, Jupiter Farms, but when we talk about Royal Palm, you might be Gardens and you might be Locks Groves. They have their own building divisions, and the same thing, you consult with their building officials. And I'm telling you what we would be doing in unincorporated Palm Beach County. Each situation has the potential to be unique. but you're bringing in a contractor then and doing new, it's worth asking the question.
So do you have a number, a specific number, then I can contact?
I'll see you after, yes.
I think it also matters if you're permitted or whether you're ag exempt. If you're a bona fide ag property, there's different code that applies to you. So you're going to have to find out that information, whether or not you're permitted, whether you're bona fide ag, and I think also the county code allows you to do repairs up to like $500, something like that, on your existing permit.
And
Sorry.
just
I'm so
off
sorry.
the top, really quickly,
Oh, go
I'm
ahead.
just gonna give out the phone number for the building division.
Oh, okay.
Unincorporated Palm Beach County, just remember that. 561-233-5000.
I'm sorry if I missed it. I
Sure.
apologize. That, how the gentleman was asking, like, if he's repairing his fence and he's getting new parts, if we have to take out new permits or anything like that. Did that apply to sheds as well? Because I work from home and I have different buildings on property that were permitted and everything, and 2 of them I lost, and we're gonna have to replace them eventually too. Is that new permitting that I'd have to look into to take out, or is it replacement of what was already there and permitted originally?
No, I understand the point, and that's where we start to get into the area where I'd want you to call. Because I
Okay.
hear that, I heard about wells as well, and you might want to be looking at replacing mechanical pieces or electrical pieces. There's a lot of different ones. I don't want to give you a one-size-fits-all
Okay.
across the board. I can give you pretty clear on the fence piece of it. Call and ask.
Okay.
There's a strong understanding of what you're going through. We're going to work on the expediting piece and a number of other things, but I want you to call and ask and get it done the right way up front.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Suspending the cost of the permits for those of us that were affected. Like our fence is completely gone. Like you said, our shed's completely gone. So instead of sitting here spending $250 on a permit, we have other things that that $250 can go to.
To understand that point, my building official raised that with me on Friday. We're looking at making that happen. I've got a couple steps. I just need to see which way it goes. Yes, ma'am. Yes.
Can we just take a minute and take a couple of questions from people online? Dr. Venus, you've been waiting very patiently. Doctor, if you could unmute.
Yeah, I just did. Are you gonna fast track any permitting that we need at the present time?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir, we are.
How do we tell the contractor that just mentioned the tornado and that should do it?
Their building division, so we've done this many times in the past, unfortunately, with hurricanes. There is identification that when you're filing for a permit, whatever it may be, result of the hurricane, in this case, the tornado, and that will move it to the front of the line.
Okay, thank you so much.
Sure.
Next one online is iPhone 3. Please unmute. Oh.
Hi, this is actually a question for the congressman, but when speaking to my insurance company, they told me I have an $8,600 deductible for my home, which is at Coconut and 87th, and it sustained extensive damage. Hurricane deductible $8,600 versus a tornado deductible of $2,500. Just wondering if there's any process in place to help enforce the tornado deductible for homeowners versus a hurricane deductible.
That's a good question.
We have an insurance
You got-
commissioner.
The insurance all right, are we on? Okay, the insurance commissioner said because it was a named storm, there's no separation between the tornadoes that happened and the hurricane. I hate to be the bearer of bad news, but this was, when I spoke with Jimmy Petronas 2 days ago, that was another question, because we had another town hall up in Avenir, and that was the main question that people were asking was, can we separate the tornadoes out from the hurricane? Because it was already a named event, the answer to that was no. Sorry to be the bearer of bad news.
Thank you, Vice Mayor. Any more? Oh, there we go.
Yes, sir.
I deal with the building department a lot, and you guys are changing the system around, and it's really hard to get permits right now. So how do we, or who do we get a hold of that's really gonna
So start you with that. Again, going back to what I said the first time, securing your property. You do what you've got to do to secure your property right now. As you follow through and you move through the pieces, you can have identification on the website about if you fall into a spot where you do need a permit, you're trying to change a fence, you're trying to add the fence, whatever the case may be, moving forward, it will identify how you access that.
Do we have parts from you?
I get you one, yes.
Down to my office, and I can help facilitate that as well.
Thank you. And for you, sir, I don't know about everybody, but I lost all my garbage cans. Are they
So the answer is yes, if it's lost or destroyed, it will be replaced. I would ask that you contact the customer service and give them your information, and we'll get you a new one.
What if it's just been really damaged?
They can be repaired. We have service that does come around and repair them, so it'll be either repaired or replaced.
So we know when the lids all hangs out by one thing?
Well, you have to call in or go on the web and make a request, and there's a place where you can say what the issue is, but give us a little time on that. I mean, it may take, a week or two to get that done, but they will be replaced, yes.
I ordered one prior to the storm, and I gave out my information, and the lady said that they will call me to set up the drop-off or whatever.
Yeah.
I never got the call.
Okay, give Paul your info. He's the guy that is in charge of that.
Sometimes the garbage companies are the ones that are providing the carts. The requests right now are so extensive, they're not reaching out individually, they're just dropping them. So you may come home and then you got a cart from your driveway. So if the request is in there, if it goes over 3 to 4 days and you haven't seen the cart, just call us back.
It's been a couple of weeks.
All
Yeah,
right,
and
all right.
we want to know about that, and then we'll get you out one right away.
My wife keeps asking me, that's all. Yeah, maybe.
All right, well, thank you so much, SWA. It's been really informative. We appreciate your time. Thank you guys for looking out for everybody. Mr. Von Laren has an update for FP&L, so I think everybody wants to hear this.
So the 7 property owners that gave us their addresses for the FP&L outages, a couple of quick things. First, they have pinged all of those since we've been sitting here. One of those is back in service, so the Barber residence, so that should be on. If it is not, I'll give you my cell phone. When you get home, you can text me back, whoever the Barbers are, and then let me know. We'll have them look at that again, but that should be on right now. So they looked at the grid for all of those properties, and what it appears to be on FP&L's end is that some of those are obviously due to broken pipes and down poles in the area. So they're bringing in additional resources in to do that. They don't have a time for me on restoration, but it's just requiring some outside resources to come in to get those stood up so they can get that started. One thing they do have locally here for you as a resource at 7050 Seminole Pratt Whitney Road, where the Publix is by Orange and Seminole Pratt, FP&L has set up a kind of a small staging area for those of you who have outages. You can go there and they have water, ice, cell phone charging stations, Wi-Fi available, as well as outage restoration information available to you. It's about 8 minutes or so from where we're at right here. So please utilize that. It will be open until 5 o'clock today, and we'll try to get you all the time frames that'll be open for the remainder of the week. So. Yeah, 7050 Seminole Pratt, that's where the Publix is by Orange and Seminole Pratt behind the library. They say it's pretty visible, so you should be able to see it in there. So those are just the updates we have for you, and if the Barbers can get with me afterwards, we'll make sure that if it's not on when you get home, that we'll do some recon on that. Thanks.
Thank you, Todd.
I have my power restored, but the pole that is behind my house that's connected to the weatherhead, that has a big split.
Okay.
Now the guy, one of the workers, I showed it to him, he came onto the property, and he said, yes, that needs to be replaced.
Is your name on this list?
No,
I'll get it
'cause-
from you before, and
Okay, thank you.
we'll send that information.
Thank you, Todd.
Can I just add something?
My
next neighbor, even just my two neighbors, they get power, but I am the front of the coconut, but I did not get anything yet.
So it might not be every case of those properties that they said that require some of that other infrastructure, but they've got your address that's in the system, and they're monitoring for it.
Yeah, I saw that that when the tornado happened, that they have so many cars, just my parking lot, they are just lined, but
yeah.
I have a lot of damage, but other, just that's why maybe I don't know. But yesterday, the evening time they worked, but maximum people they get it, but I did not get yet.
Understood.
I just want to add that these line workers, the linemen that have been out there have been absolutely incredible. If you consider the amount of damage that we have sustained, not just in our community, but from the tornadoes in Wellington and Loxahatchee Groves and all the way to Palm Beach Gardens and Jupiter, they have done an outstanding job in restoring power fairly quickly. And I know it doesn't feel like that for those of you who are without power, but there are circumstances where we could have been without power, all of us, for a long, long time if we were hit from the hurricane like the people in Tampa. So I just want us all to, make sure that we're being patient and that we're thanking them for a very thankless job in a lot of cases, because I know I wouldn't be up in those bucket trucks that high and doing that job. It's not something that I'm cut out for. So I really appreciate the linemen, and I appreciate everything that FPL has coordinated to try to get this going for our community and limit the impact without power.
Absolutely. Yeah, they always come down and help out. All right, because we're getting short on time, I'd like to introduce to you the Director of Palm Beach County Emergency Management. Mary, if you want to come on up. Thank you so much, and thank you for your patience. And thank you for all the hard work that your department does, because you are the front line.
Well, we've been here and we're not going away. I just want to give you clarification on a few things that are happening on our front that are really important for all of our residents to know. It was mentioned earlier. I want to tell you that don't wait on anything. Don't wait for them to pick up your trash. Don't wait on working on your repairs. Don't wait to call your insurance company. I know a lot of people wait for those things to see if we're going to get FEMA assistance and things like that. Don't wait on anything, because we want you to mitigate whatever's going to happen in the next rain event. It's supposed to rain this afternoon, so we're hoping those of you that have damage to your roofs are taking those protections to cover your roof up. So what I want to tell you is we got that declaration yesterday for individual assistance, which is really important. I'm not going to rehash what Congressman Mass said, but step number one, call your insurance. If you haven't called your insurance company yet, you need to call your insurance company, because regardless of what federal assistance out there, they're not going to duplicate benefits of your insurance company. That's going to be their number one question they ask you, so call your insurance company. Then make a FEMA claim. Even if you feel like you have enough insurance coverage, it does not hurt to make a file with FEMA. So that disasterassistance.gov is the email address. If you don't have computer access, I'm going to also give you the phone number in case you want to call. It's 1-800-621-3362. I'll say it again, 1-800-621-3362. They also have a FEMA phone application if you're a techie and want to use a phone app and add another app to your phone. But you want to make that application with them. I can tell you some restrictions that I know, been doing this a long time. In order to get that assistance, it has to be your primary residence. It can't be a second home. Not that we have a lot of people that come here that are seasonal, but if you are one of those, it has to be your primary residence in order to get assistance. They do have some programs available if you're a renter. I don't know who in this room is a homeowner or a renter, but they're going to be looking at that type of criteria as well. As part of our disaster declaration, you have that individual assistance, but we did also get, and I heard some of you talking about home businesses, We also got that Small Business Administration declaration, so you wanna apply for Small Business Administration if you also have a business based at your home. SBA loans, they're low interest, I know he talked about that, but there's also the ability through the SBA program to get lost income if your business sustained damage. I heard somebody talking about fruit trees. You know, if your business was to sell those fruit trees, and you're losing that income, you want to go ahead and file a claim with the Small Business Administration for that protection. So we're just asking you to do that in the coming days. Actually, our staff are out right now we do have a FEMA liaison that's assigned to our EOC. They're out right now. We're identifying the site where we're either going to stand up a disaster recovery center or a multi-agency resource center. We're hoping to get that stood up in the next couple days. Once that location is stood up, the best way to utilize that resource, if you need it, you don't have to go to it as long as you file these claims online or over the phone. But the beautiful thing about a disaster recovery center and a multi-agency resource center is we bring in a collection of resources. We'll have somebody there from the Small Business Administration. We'll have FEMA reps there. We'll have local resources there that can assist you. We'll also have state resources there, all under one roof, so you can actually go table to table and understand the process and where your claim is throughout that process. We're not going to close that quickly. We will keep that open for a period of time. So those of you that work Monday through Friday, you can go on the weekend. It usually has evening hours. It'll be located close to us within this community. We're actually targeting a location right now in Wellington because we're trying to meet those requirements that FEMA has for a building. Although I know Burgess did offer this facility for the community here. It isn't big enough for what FEMA likes to do with the number of people that they bring in. So we're going to have something co-located as close as possible to you all as residents here in the community. So we're working on identifying a location now, and we'll get that out as soon as possible to you. For any information that you may have. But truly, I know a lot of resources have been offered here. A lot of communication has happened, but our office is still available as well. So you can always call the EOC with any unknown question that you may have. It's 561-712-6400. Our staff will be able to work on whatever question you have and try to get you an answer for anything that may be unclear. But use those resources that are here for us. Our partners here, as Mr. Bumlaren mentioned, as Mr. Rudder mentioned, as our Solid Waste Authority friends mentioned, we've been working on this well before landfall, and we partner together each and every day. So I can tell you we have some of the best partners here within Palm Beach County to recover quickly. So take advantage of those resources that are available to you.
Can you repeat that phone number?
Sure. Our phone number at the EOC is 561-712-6400.
And excuse me, and what we're going to do, once all this information is compiled, all the phone numbers, the location for FEMA to meet with them is all going to be put on our website. We'll set up a special tab, a temporary tab, Hurricane Milton, or whatever staff wants to call it, and this way you'll have a go-to on the website, and we'll also be able to share it on social media, so all that information is there for you, and you guys don't have to call every individual place. All those numbers will be there.
So anything you need, I'd be happy to answer any question you might have about this process. If you haven't seen, just to give you a little bit of information about how our community was impacted, the National Weather Service, I'm sure you saw it on the news, came out and they did their survey literally the day after. And it was an EF3 tornado. And there were members of the Weather Service in our community that have been working there 30 years, and we've never had a tornado that large. So it was 21 miles long and 300 yards wide. When it came through our community here in Palm Beach County. So just to give you a little bit of a magnitude of what we dealt with. And it is just another one of those hazards. I know we talked about the insurance deductibles, but tornadoes are a hazard within a hurricane, unfortunately, as are floods, as is storm surge. So, you know, we're just happy we didn't have any loss of life in Palm Beach County, and we're thankful for that. So if you have any questions? Thank you.
Thank you. We really appreciate it. Okay.
Mary, I do have one question for you. Is there any agency that is readily available to be handing out tarps for folks who need that? Because
Yeah.
I haven't seen or heard.
We have a whole bunch.
You
Yeah,
have?
Because we got a pallet of them, so.
Okay.
We've
And
been
isn't
giving
there
out, but
the
just
blue
reach out.
tarp?
We've got them.
Okay.
Yeah, and we have asked for the FEMA Blue Tarp program, the Army Corps of Engineer Blue Tarp program to open up. We just haven't gotten that word yet. The minute we do, hopefully we get declared for the Blue Tarp program. We will definitely get that out to the community.
Just with the rain coming again, I think
In the
that that's a
meantime,
concern.
Richard, he'll give you his number at our Public Works. We've got a pallet until that's exhausted.
Okay.
You're welcome to come get them. Thank you.
Thank you.
And some insurance companies, one of the companies that I helped a client, a resident with, they already, we called the claim number and they sent she had to fill out a form. I said it was okay to fill it out because it was just, they have a company that's gonna come tarp her house. So or insurance companies do have companies that'll come tarp the house.
Right, so
If
if
they
you're
have
not.
insurance.
Yeah.
They have insurance, yeah, because they don't want any more damage, because if the roof leaks, they're gonna be paying a lot more.
Right, and if you don't have the ability to get up on your own roof, because not everybody does, so if you have insurance and that is offered, that's definitely something you want to look into and utilize. Vice Mayor, do you have anything to add, anything that?
Actually, I'll let your district commissioner close.
Okay.
I'm just happy that we can all work together for you.
Absolutely, thank you.
Lastly, I will be trying to, from my office, send out any updates and also post those contact information and numbers for everyone and send it out in a newsletter so anyone who isn't checking a website regularly can also get it. So if you haven't done so already, please sign up for that. You can just go to the Palm Beach County website and look for District 6, or you can just Google my name, Sarah Baxter. It usually pops up pretty easily to sign up for those newsletters. And we also brought contact cards for the people here today so that you can do that as well. Thank you, everyone. I want to thank staff. I didn't expect to take questions, but I will. Renee, did you have a?
Yeah, I just, two questions, actually. I would like to ask, and I'm assuming it would be your responsibility, to maybe get the service that the EOC lady recommended that was gonna be in Wellington. We need to have a service out here that's local to us. We're always expected to go somewhere else because we're kind of disregarded as a community. And I think that we have, even if it's Westlake, who has a huge facility, but we do have places out here that they could supply and provide us with products. Secondly, I would like to ask yourself and Commissioner Marino if it's possible for you to maybe go ahead and take action and not wait. There was many people here that were saying that they're already having issues with people on their property, and the congressman had said to reach out. I don't think that at this point we need to have 10, 15, 20 different people reaching out about their property. I think we need the police services here and now. So I think that it would be great if maybe the two of you could initiate that, or ITID, but somebody on the behalf of the community. Jupiter Farms as well.
Yes.
It has been done.
It's been done. But also to address the first issue, it's not a matter of not having services out here or place. One of the reasons that they're going to set up a center, it can't be at the Acreage Library, let's say, is because we have early voting that's going to be taking place, which is why we're stuck looking for another facility. And I think I have an idea, but I want to discuss that afterwards, which should be close enough for everyone. Again, when it comes to municipalities, Westlake, Royal Palm Beach, or so on, we can't make those unilateral decisions. We have to work with our partners. And everyone has come together and done an amazing job. We've seen that in the Acreage, that we have the best community, the best residents ever. I mean, it has been so heartfelt for everyone coming together. I do want to thank staff, and to the point of thanking the sheriff's officers for keeping us safe. And I do know it'll be on the radar, but if anyone has still reached out to the sheriff's office, which we have, and having issues, always please reach out to my office and I will get involved. But the more direct and fastest way to do it is to report it yourself if you're having issues on your own property.
Mm-hmm. I had actually started to ask somebody earlier when I first got here. I noticed that although there were a lot of people here today, there are a lot of people that I met in the community that have damage that were getting help from neighbors that aren't here today but still need help. And a lot of that may be because meeting, I didn't even realize the meeting, I thought it was yesterday when I got the information about it, so I only knew like 15 minutes beforehand. Is there a way for us to put together a team, whether it's from your level, Commissioner Marino's level, ITID, but a team of people to literally go out to these homes and provide them a piece of paper saying, you know, here are resources that can help you, here's volunteers that can help you, here are groups that we can help you with, like this nice lady in front of me. It appears that not only is she challenged with the fact that she's a single parent, she probably can't put a tarp on her roof, she probably can't get out there with a chainsaw and do her trees.
No, and
maybe just giving her a resource would be helpful.
that's a great idea, but let's get a location to send them to. Let's get them the place, and once all those resources are in one place, I think that's going to be ideal, especially then they don't have to have internet or power or anything else to get that help. It'll all be in person. So absolutely, I think that would be a great way to approach this.
And that would be, again, FEMA and then our emergency management.
Is this Zoom link recorded? Can people potentially go look and see this?
Yes, it is.
Later and get the information?
Yes, and it'll be on YouTube as well.
I would also like to take a second to thank Indian Trail Improvement District for putting this together so quickly, which is why probably a lot of people didn't know about it. So thank you. If we could give them a round of applause. This was thrown together because everyone is in kind of recovery mode, disaster mode. Everyone is anxious, and we have a lot going on. You know, a lot of people impacted, the entire community, and I just want to thank everyone for sticking with it, staying safe, and helping your neighbors out. And if you need anything, please do not hesitate to reach out to my office. I'm here for you. I'm here to help. I'm here to coordinate. If you're not sure where to go or what to do, please reach out. The phone number to the office is 561-355-2206. It is forwarded to wherever we are, which is why I like to give that number. And also email me. Emailing is probably the best and fastest way, because if you can give a detailed description, I'm not playing telephone and trying to repeat it to the next person, which is sbaxter, so SBAXTER @pbc.gov. Email me your issue, your address, and then I can get it to the right place. I can help coordinate or facilitate anything you need. So please, thank you, everyone.
Thank you. Richard, absolutely, go right ahead.
All right, again, from the town of Loxahatchee Groves, we have the tarps. We have a limited number of tarps. They're currently in the back of one of our trucks, but if you need one, come see me. I can arrange to try to get it to you today, or if nothing else, tomorrow. Also, we have worked with the Emergency Operations Center and Palm Beach County Water Utilities that we have, for those of you who have equestrian assets or any type of other animals, large animals that require water, we have a hydrant meter on the fire hydrant at Station 21 on Okeechobee Boulevard. It's got a hose spigot on the end of it, so you just use that and fill 5-gallon buckets, whatever you need. So if you don't have power, or if your well's out and you need water for your animals, or I mean, it is drinking water. If you need water for yourself, you can fill buckets up or whatever containers you have. But we do have that on. It's at Station 21. It's on Okeechobee Boulevard between D and E roads on the south side of Okeechobee Boulevard.
Thank you so much, Richard. That's very important for everybody.
Thanks for being a good neighbor.
A question back there?
Hello, folks. Richard Vassilotti, a longtime Acreage resident. Earlier, Mr. Baxter here was talking about insurance. This is my personal experience after 30 years out here with 2 major incidents. I have found that the insurance companies like to take your money, but they don't want to pay your claims. They overwhelmingly undercut what should have been paid for me. I did hire a public adjuster on 2 separate occasions. This was quite some time ago, with very, very good results. So do not discount the fact that a public adjuster may be able to help you find a reputable one. I do not know one, but this is just my opinion on it, that I had very good luck, and then was paid fairly what should have been paid by the insurance companies. They did not want to pay. That's my personal experience. So I wish the best to everyone.
Thank you. And like I said, get an inspection. They're not that expensive. If the inspector comes up with anything else and the insurance company is refusing to pay, that is another option. All right, do we have any more questions before we wrap this up?
I just would like to add one
Oh,
more thing.
absolutely.
Sorry about Loxahatchee Groves, and I don't want to jump in, but we do appreciate your
No,
partnership
you're
100%.
fine, of course.
I just want to let everyone
This,
know.
this is Anita, the mayor of Loxahatchee Groves,
Thank
by the
you.
way.
Sorry.
No, it's okay.
I just wanted, for people who might be listening, or I'm not sure anybody here who lives in Loxahatchee Groves, we're having a volunteer event, Neighbors Helping Neighbors. It meets tomorrow at 10 o'clock at our town hall. If you need help, be there, and if you want help, want to be a helper, be there. We're asking that you bring any protective gear you might want, any tools. We will have some tools to provide, but we're going to go around and help people with larger properties finish clearing their properties. We have a lot of animal sanctuaries in our community that were hit hard, Panther Ridge, and Nature Conservancy. We have several in our community that were hit pretty hard. The Rainforest Clinic, the Bird Clinic on E Road. So we're going to go around and try to help some of these larger organizations get their property cleaned up and safe again for the animals. So again, it's at 10 o'clock at our town hall. Thank you.
Thank you.
I'm sorry? We can. Yeah, and we've also, I'm not sure how it finally got resolved today, but through our landowners association, I'm not sure whether they're setting up a GoFundMe or, direct contributions to the landowners association if you wanted to make one and have that money be specifically earmarked for one of the not-for-profits that's in our community that is an animal sanctuary, that would be fine. But if you call Town Hall tomorrow, they should have details on how you can do that.
Thank you, and definitely share that with us because we're happy to add that.
The address for Town Hall at the Town of Loxahatchee Groves is 155 F Road. It is at the northwest corner of Southern Boulevard and F Road. And the phone number is area code 561-793-2418. 561-793-2418.
Thank you. Of course. So before we wrap this up, I just have a special thanks to give. So I heard that there was one of these happening in Gardens, and I'm watching the news, and I'm seeing the news showing Wellington, and I'm seeing the news showing Gardens and Jupiter, and passing right over our community. And, right? And I thought, here we are once again, and I hate this expression, but everybody uses it, the red-headed stepchild of the Western community. And I thought to myself, this just isn't right. Our people here are devastated. We can't just do this on our own. We need resources. We need information. We need help. And the first call I made was to the Congressman Mast. And it's almost 9 o'clock at night. And I sent him a text message and I said, Congressman, we need you. You were in Gardens. Thank you so much for that. They're our neighbors, but our community needs you too. He said, tell me when and tell me where. Imagine that, 9 o'clock at night. My next phone call was to Mr. Hanson. And I said, you're gonna think I'm crazy. Try to put this together in a matter of 2 days. I said, but let's make it happen. And this man and our staff got to work immediately and contacted all these people that spoke to you today and put this thing together in a day. And I just cannot begin to thank you enough for that, because this is what our community is all about. It really is. And to everybody that was willing to come out and willing to show our community that, yes, even though we may not see you on the news, we care and we hear you. And there's a young lady over here, speaking of the news. She was the third call I made. And I said, hey, you live out here, Ms. Rogers, and you know what happens to us out here, and we get overlooked. And we need your help to get this word out in a matter of less than 48 hours. We want to fill this room. Help us do it. And you know what she said? Absolutely, of course, I will help you. Send me the info. Send me everything you got. And our team got together, and they put it all together, and they made Facebook posts, and they made information on the website, and it got shared on the news, and it got shared throughout the community and with all our community neighbors. And this is what the acreage in Loxahatchee is all about. And I want to thank each and every single one of you who are here today, who are watching online. We've never had 60 participants online at any meeting. And even though we maybe didn't reach every single person, like Renee said, some people have no power, they don't know. We reached a lot of people. And now you're going to go and you're going to tell your neighbors, and you're going to help us spread the word, because that's what we do here in this community. We help each other. So thank you to each and every single one of you who are here, to our staff for its amazing job and making this happen. Thank you all so much. And with that, Mr. Hanson. Give him a hand.
Thank you. I appreciate that. So we know that a lot of you are going through some bad times, and we just wanted to help out. Do want to thank the 2 county commissioners for being here, along with the great staff of Palm Beach County. They got this together, and we appreciate Patrick and Paul coming out today, because I know they've been busy setting up that debris site. So I know Mary as well has been really busy. So just quickly, so you know, we're transitioning back to normal operations for the most part. The only area that we will continue to hit is we're going to make sure all of our canals are clear. Our crew that was here earlier that left, they've been out. They will continue to go out to make sure that are clear. The canals are moving water. Our pumps are operating, but we've cut back on it because we haven't had any rain. Additionally, any debris that's in the road that is too far in the road, we are going to be proactively pushing that a little bit to the side for a couple reasons. Just not for our maintenance, but so the contractors from Ashbridge can make it through, but more importantly, so PBSO and PB Fire Rescue can respond. Just so you know, if it happens after hours, Amanda Vomero, who's the district fire chief for this area, she has my number, she has Jason Lester's number, Rob's number, and also our on-call person. We will send a loader or grader out there, even if it's 1 in the morning, so don't worry about that. But if you do have an issue getting in and out of your driveway, we were taking calls Friday night, yesterday, and even this morning. We will come out and try to move it, because a lot of people were unable to get their horse trailers out, things like that. So if you either email us at customerrelations@indiantrail.com or dial 561-793-0874, or if you want my cell phone, and I have a card there, my number is 561-246-7112. Just drop me a text and we will try to get out there as quickly as we can. And if it's an emergency, we'll drop everything and be out there. So we appreciate your patience and thank everyone for being here today. So thank you.